Welcome to the follow-up after show, kind of a web extra to give you some additional information that we didn't talk about in the big show. Carol Heron from the Voters Not Politicians group is here to talk about the redrawing the redistricting voting boundaries, which is what we approved in Proposal 2 in November.
Exactly.
There's an application process that you can be part of this 13-member historic redistricting commission, right? The application process sort of started 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
How's that going, and how do we go about to apply?
Well, we feel the Voters Not Politicians, and I'm sure the Secretary of State, I shouldn't speak for them, but I would imagine they feel really good. They opened it, as you say, 2 weeks ago, and there are over 3,000 applicants already. And that's a good number in a short period of time, with just the beginning of the rollout of letting all the people in the state know and understand that they can apply to do this. It is our state. It takes everybody to be involved, but not everybody feels they're qualified, and people need to understand that they're qualified if they want to listen. Mm-hmm. They're qualified if they want to participate and be an active voter,
Sure.
citizen in their state. And young people too. We need young people. That's the biggest new voting bloc.
And you have to be over 18?
You have to be a
Okay.
registered voter.
Okay.
So there are very few under, like if you're within a few months for the election, you can be like 17 in so many
Sure.
months. But that's a registration technicality in general. It's 18 years of age to be a registered voter.
So the hope is to have a big pool of people, as many as 10,000 between
Or
now
more.
or more, which is great. That would be at least. If we can get 20,000, great. As many as you can. You'd like to get at least that.
Yeah.
And by June, that's the end of the process, and then the vetting process begins. So what's the selection look like? Do I have to have certain criteria? Because at the end of the day, you're going to be selecting these 13 people somewhat at random, and then it'll be ended up to an algorithm at the end. But from 200 to 13, so is there any kind of criteria? Do I need some sort of qualities to apply and somehow get picked?
Well, to apply, people will have to stipulate and have notarized on their application to their party affiliation if they have it,
Okay.
or if they don't have it, which is fine. But that will have to be stipulated because the commission is to be made up of 4 Democrats and 4 Republicans, and then 5 individuals who are not Republican or Democrat. They could be any of the other parties or no party at all. So to keep that bona fide, we need to have people notarize what their affiliation is.
Okay.
Then the whole reason for doing this is to make boundary drawing for our voting districts, to make it fair, so that when people go vote, they actually want to vote because they know that their vote is going to count. It's going to be one person, and their one vote will count towards having the representation that they want to have. And that's what is lacking right now.
Right.
Because the boundaries are drawn to protect the incumbent in certain boundaries in certain districts. And when the incumbent knows they're going to win no matter what they do, they don't listen to the voter. And when the voter isn't listened to, then you get people who say, it doesn't matter what I do. I can't do anything to make a difference. And that's what this is bound to change. So if people want to see that change, they have to get on board. The only restrictions would be, in order to keep the boundaries to be drawn fairly, to have the process be open, we need to have people that will not benefit from how they are drawn. Mm-hmm. And the people that do benefit so far have been incumbents and other particular party members. Both parties do it depending on what state you're in.
Right.
And so we have disqualified, not for their entire lives, but for the time they can't, after leaving, for example, a political position, an elected official. After leaving an elected official, 6 years later would have to go by before they could be on the commission.
Got it.
And, you know, we spoke a moment ago about mayor.
Mhm.
And if a mayor is not partisanly elected, if it's not partisan, that may not fit in the disqualification.
Interesting.
May be all right. So I should have told him that. That is something, and that is where it helps with that kind of technicality
Sure.
to talk to the Secretary of State,
Right.
because they do have that down to a fine point.
Well, it's going to be important, these 13 folks, because they'll redraw these districts, and they're going to be in place for 10 years. It'll affect the 2022 voting cycle. They're going to pull some census numbers and do the research and do the public hearing, so it's an important job. So the most important thing right now is to go on to redistrictingmichigan.org and apply, get the information, and hopefully we can get 20,000 people that can sign up. It'll be
That
good.
would be
Yeah.
amazing. It's a historic change.
And thank you for getting involved in this.
You're welcome.
You were involved in Proposal 2. You got that passed. Good for you.
Thank you.
Now you've taken
Took
the
all
next
of us.
step to let this kind of get implemented. So congratulations, and we'll see where it goes. We'll probably have you on again.
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
and thank you for having me. I hope it's been helpful.
And very helpful. And thank you for joining us on the After Show.